What's up, valued viewer? My name is Pat, and I'm going to show you how to get, for drums specifically in this video, how to get from an empty session to something that sounds a little bit like this.
Baby, can we skip this bar? Take you home, don't need your number. Won't worry about your last name, we'll change it next summer. I'll buy a king bed and I'll slide on over. Find some acres with a wraparound porch. I can show you a house. Hit Vegas, shut the strip down. Seeing you makes me think of a pawn shop ring. Can we fly by hello in this bar? Can we skip this bar?
All right. So the name of this song here is Can We Skip This by my artist Troy Grove. He's a good friend of mine, and on this channel I do a series called Song Surgery where I break down songs I was a writer, producer, and mixer on, or one of those things, and this is one of the ones on there. But today we're talking drums. I'm going to talk to you about these drum sounds, where they started, how they got to where they are. If you want to get to just the mixing shit and you don't care about me yapping, I'll put a timestamp below to where I start going a little more in detail there. But so, I mean, I'm a hybrid guy, you know what I mean? I don't just mix, I don't just produce, and I don't just write. So I need to have options in my playbook to have good sounds from the start. That way, when I'm writing with my artists and top liners, I can keep them excited, maintain the vibe that they were excited about, and then enhance it once we're getting the product over the finish line. So for me, I'm a mixed wave guy. I tend to use almost exclusively the Thomas Pridgeon kit. I just can't stop using it. It does everything that I need it to do. I work on mostly things that have a foot in country, a foot in rock, or a foot in pop, and it's a great catch-all drum library. And if I need to push it into one end of the spectrum, I have enough samples that I've accumulated in my God knows how many years of making music that I can essentially just make it sound like whatever I need it to sound like, even if that kit itself isn't perfect for that. You might say that that's lazy. You might be like, oh my God, well, why don't you just have all these different libraries? And I do. I have a bunch, but that one works for me. As for writing, not a lot to say here. Everyone's going to have a different method of doing that. For me, I'm a keyboard enjoyer. Valued viewer. You might be a pencil in on your MIDI keyboard enjoyer. Totally valid. Whatever works. Whatever's fast for you, whatever keeps your collaborators excited. When it comes to writing, I think that's the most important thing. If you're just making music by yourself in your bedroom, do whatever the fuck works for you. If you're in a situation where you need to be quick, I'm a keyboard advocate because it allows you to bake in a little bit of human feel in terms of velocities just immediately. With the pencil tool, you gotta double click, raise it, double click, raise it, and that can get tedious. For me, I've gotten to a point where I can play most basic grooves on the MIDI keyboard, and I'm just flying out the gate. Especially in a situation where I have a co-writer who maybe is a guitar player. I can give them a guitar, plug them in, and we can jam and we can write together in real time, almost like we're having a jam session. So that's kind of it for me on writing. I mean, you can also drop in one-shots, whatever works, man. But let's talk about after that the initial ideas are down. What do we do? For me, as the producer in the room who's a multi-instrumentalist, usually from there, I'm actually leaving the drums in the sample library just as an instrument plugin and immediately moving on to playing basses and guitars, things like that. I don't really start toying with sounds or changing the sounds and the tones and getting specific until I'm moving into the late stages of production and into early mixing. So let's listen to all that yap aside. Let's listen to the raw drums out of the plugin. Stand by, with no processing on them. Perfectly reasonable and great sounds already that you can write to. Fantastic, right? But what can we do? We can enhance those. How do we enhance, valued viewer? I'm about to show you after I route these back to their correct channels. Let's start talking about our kick and our snare. Those are the two most important things aside from vocals and genre dependent, those are probably the two most important things in your session at any given moment, is your kick and snare sound. If they suck, your song sucks. It's controversial, but I'm saying it. With the caveats of, obviously, the top line can suck and everything else can suck. But from a sonic perspective, to get the listener, to get those asses moving and out of chairs, kick snare. Let's talk about the kick. Let's listen to the kick with its partner in crime, the kick sample. Cool, right? Mute the sample. What is the sample adding? It's adding a little bit of air, a little bit of attack. What do we have going on here? I honestly don't even remember where I got these samples at this point in my life. This might be a Make Pop Music sample. Yeah, I think it's from their Nashville pack. That kick, which has a nice extended sort of hang on its low end, that is from Nail the Mix, of the episode they did about a mirror, and I kept that sample forever. It's fantastic. It's slappy. It's got that thing going on. Lovely. So in tandem, those three things sound like that. How are we processing those? My philosophy with kicks, my philosophy with snares, not really with toms, but kicks and snares, if I have in a situation where I have maybe a snare top, snare bottom, snare sample, or a kick in, kick out, kick sub, kick sample, I'm taking all of those things after I'm checking phase and aligning and gating, and I'm feeding them into one channel, and I'm treating them as one sound. Some people don't like that. Most of the great mixers that I know do that, whether they're live mixers or studio guys, they'll treat that sound as one thing. So what are we doing to our kick? We are taking it and we're putting it through an SSL 4K channel strip. I use the UAD one. They're all great, man. They all sound good. You could use the Brainworks one. You can use the Waves one. Everybody and their brother has one of these. There's a million of them on the internet. You can pay for them. I'm sure you can find cracks still somehow. And I know that there are also great free options for people who don't use Pro Tools, who aren't boomers like me. So what did we do here? It looks like we took a little bit of top end out. Yeah, took some top end out, sucked out a little bit of 200, added a little bit of booty, and then compressed it. Nothing fancy, truly. I did filter out a little higher than I probably normally would, it looks like here, up to about 60, maybe 50. Interesting. I don't know why I did that. Probably because it's a foot in country, and country doesn't always have a super subby kick. When you're blending genres, you kind of, I don't know, there aren't rules. There's never any rules, but if I'm catering something maybe more towards a country thing, I might not extend the bottom of the kick as far as I would in like a metal song or an EDM song. You know what I mean? It's still subby. It's still full. Cool. Moving along. Let's go snare. What do we got? Ooh. A lot of white noise, a lot of ring, a lot of room, a lot of verb. Let's take the verb off, see what we got. Still has good ring, still has good length. The verb that we add has, yeah, verb adds a lot of vibe to it. So let's start talking about how we're processing that snare. First, let's look at that verb. Essentially, I just kind of duplicated my snare channel, and then I threw Valhalla Room. Oh, on the Pat Snare verb preset. You can get that nowhere except for right here. This is actually probably a copy of Nolly's snare room, and I just put my name on it. Man, IP theft at its worst. But yeah, put it in a room. Fantastic. And then what do we do to that? We compress the shit out of it. Fast attack, fast release, because I just want to take that transient and go. And I want all of that room to bloom out of it. So that's going on there. On the snare direct, compressing it. Pretty fast release. Threshold all the way down, hitting it like 6 dB. Pulling out some, in snares, if you got to be careful in snares, because if you pull 300, 400, things can kind of sound phasey. They can kind of sound weird. I don't know why I didn't in this one, but I did pull some of that like honky 700 out, and looks like I boosted a fuck ton of 200, and we took a little 5K out. Interesting. Not really sure why we did that, but that's your kick snare. Let's look at overheads. Sounds like I didn't take the bleed out. What do we got going on there? Oh, okay. Very cool. So we have the SSL 9K. essentially with the 9K, it looks like all I was really doing was doing some filtering and keeping things shiny. I don't think I boosted much of anything, kind of just filtered out and sucked out around 300. A little compression, call it a day. Nothing crazy. And then Old Faithful. Soothe. This is a preset. I think this is actually by Nolly. Let's look. Cymbal Smooth by Nolly. Yeah, Old Faithful. Basically what we're doing is we're leaving the air frequencies of the cymbals untouched, and we're kind of making sure that some of those harsher mid-range frequencies are a little bit controlled. Nothing crazy going on there. Room. First plugin is a CLA 76. Just beating the shit out of it. Why not? And then a fab filter. Okay. Yeah, taking all the ass out of it, taking all the weird cymbals out of it, because when you're slamming a room like that, the cymbals get all washy. The whole thing becomes a fucking mess. I'd rather have controlled top end with my overheads, and I'd rather have controlled low end with my kick than have a bunch of long, ringing, swimmy top and bottom. I'd rather the rooms just kind of be an energetic mid-range thing, an exciter, sort of, to what already exists with the kit, with the core sounds. And that's your drum kit, man. What's more in isolation? While we're listening now, we're also hearing drum bus processing. So let's take a look at what that is. Shadow Hills, boop, boop, boop. Let's turn it all off. Shadow Hills mastering compressor. And let's also turn this off. Cool. Compression. Not much to say about that. We're using both the opto and the discrete. Not a ton to say there. Take a look at the settings if you want. Looks like a lot of slow attack, fast release. Typical. Especially for rock, for pop punk, metal, high energy stuff. It's just slow attack, fast release. Call it a day. Max bass, giving a little bit more ass to the kick, but not super low. I mean, 80's low, but we're not at like 50, 60. Cool. Call it a day. A gate. This is not really ever going to be doing much of anything. This is just in case, maybe there's like a plugin that's adding analog noise when the drums aren't playing. We don't necessarily want that ringing. Have a gate in there. Now, this fucking thing, black box, saturation, just listen to what it does. It just livens the whole thing up. You know, it can go too far, yes, but I love it. It's pretty much every mix that's going on the drums somewhere. We're getting saturation added all along the way through these analog things that I'm driving really hard, and it's just adding excitement. Finally on the drum bus, well, almost finally. Transient Designer. After we've saturated, after we've compressed, and we've kind of taken those transients and done this to them, we're letting them go back out just a little bit. That's all that is. A clipper, apparently. Very subtle. Kind of adds body, in a way. Kind of adds seemingly length. What do we got? Spectre. Not doing anything. Wow, doing a lot. Okay. 33609. I haven't been using, this is an old session. I have not been using this guy nearly as much here. Yeah, for me, it's like a little bit slow, but it's cool. You know, it works. Really just grabs that like length of the snare and the kick. It's kind of cool. I actually don't know if I like it, but that's where we ended up. So let's talk about bass, valued viewer. That's you. We're not going to do a bass tutorial at all, but we are going to very briefly touch on side chaining. Kick-bass relationship is a thing that people say to sound really smart in a lot of their videos on the internet, and I prefer to keep it dumb, and I prefer to use Soothe to think for me. Essentially, I'm taking my kick drum, I'm sending it to a channel, I'm telling this instance of Soothe, that is one of the final things on the bass, to duck the low end of the bass whenever the kick hits. Couldn't be simpler. Immediately gets them out of each other's way. When the kick is not there, the bass is there. When the kick is there, the bass ducks there, which is great. Not really a whole lot more to say here, valued viewer. Let's very quickly listen to the instrumental, and then we'll add the vocals in. A lot of sounds going on, so while we were going through those drums, you're probably saying to yourself, wow, this guy really over compresses and does too much to his shit. But then, in the context of the mix, that's how we get the drums still fucking hard. With vocals.
I'll take you home, don't need your number, won't worry about your last name, we'll change it next summer. I'll buy a king bed and I'll slide on over, find some acres with a wraparound porch. I can show you a house in Vegas,
Only final things to talk about would be candy. Once we have a cohesive package of our instrumental, the little things go a long way. Like for the downbeats, we have a couple of impact sounds. The one of that chorus punches you right in the face. And then we have a really nifty little reverse snare. Just a little reverse snare. That's all that's doing is when we switch to that halftime, after that full time, that first snare hit of the halftime section, just that much harder. Old hardcore, metalcore trick, pop punk trick from back in the day. Back when I was a wee lad, valued viewer. But now I'm an old man, an old jaded man. Not really. I still love what I do every fucking day. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know. If you hated it, also let me know. Any engagement is welcome here. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to start doing more tutorial content like this. If you're not new here, you know that I do Song Surgery, which is a weekly thing where I take a song that I was a part of as a writer, producer, mixer, or some combo, break it down in a long-form way. I think I'm going to start splitting it 50-50 between content like this and the Song Surgery. As it turns out, no one really gives a fuck about me talking about my own songs. They want to learn how. So that's what we're going to start doing a little bit more of here to spice things up. Any requests? Let me know in the comments below. If not, love yourself. Love your friends. Keep making music. We'll catch you on the next one.